All right, let's go ahead and get this thing kicked off. Thank you all for joining the weekly tab call today. I'm going to go through and cover as much detail as is available right now. There's not a lot of detail available, but to try to clear up any confusion as to what funds are available to us and what kind of relief is available to us as business owners and citizens of the good old United States. So I'm going to cover the three quick facts real quick, which is the SBA has launched the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Assistance, or EIDL program for small businesses. They are available right now. In fact, as of today, everything is available for application right now. And then the CARES Act passed on March the 27th. President Trump signed that into law. And that includes the Paycheck Protection Program, or the PPP, which puts out $349 billion worth of federally guaranteed loans to qualifying businesses. Now, what businesses qualify that's the part that has not been very well defined. They haven't talked about credit worthiness. They haven't talked about size, other than the number of employees. But I'm sure we will get through that as the loan process works through. My just right off the top suggestion to everybody is, if you're interested and getting any of this money, get your application in. It doesn't take but a few minutes. They're really not asking for much in the way of documentation right away. Get the application in. The great thing about the PPP is it's going to make forgivable loans. It's going to end up being, if you use the money in the way it's designed to be used, and they're going to ask you for proof at a future date. They're going to ask for documentation that your employee headcount's the same, that you've utilized this money either for rent or utilities or payroll. As long as you've used this money the proper way, that loan will be forgiven. So let me go through the two different big loans that are available right now. And there's one key point here. If you qualify and accept the EIDL loan, and you subsequently apply for and get the PPP loan, you can refinance the EIDL loan with the PPP. The PPP, remember that the key to that is it's forgivable as long as you utilize the funds properly. So apply for one, apply for both, but and then in the future you can decide which way to go. There's no penalty for applying for both. Now, let me also just add in here, as we walk through this presentation, if anybody has an immediate question, jump on the chat feature that is at the bottom of your screen, or should be at the bottom of your screen. Type in that you have a question. It'll pop up and notify me, and we can get that knocked out for you. Now, a couple other qualifications for either one of these loans. The loans are limited to one taxpayer identification number, so one company. And please note that businesses cannot get both loans at the same time. You got to pick one or the other. What's the difference between the two loans? So the lender in both cases is the Small Business Administration. And the maximum amount of the EIDL loan is $2 million. And you can apply for that loan, an emergency advance right now today, and I think those funds are distributed very quickly, of $10,000. So if you need some cash flow right away to keep your employees on board, it's an advance against approval of the loan. Go ahead and get that application in. I've got a link in these documents for you to tap on it. It's an online application. It doesn't take 10 minutes to complete, and it asks for zero documentation to do so. But back to the EIDL loan. What's the annual interest rate? Well, it's going to be 3.75 for businesses. There's no nonprofits on here, but they get a 1-point discount on the interest rate. The EIDL loan is a 30-year loan, so it's amortized over 30 years, and the first loan payment will not be due for 1 year from origination. However, interest is being accrued during that deferment. I see somebody's got a question here. Let's see what we got. This is from Christopher. We were told you could get the EIDL and the PP loan at the same time. You can apply, but you cannot get both. Every document I've read over the past 2 days says it's either or. You can apply to both. Whichever one ends up making the most sense to you is the one you will you can go forward with.
Hey, Vaughn.
Yeah.
It's Adam. How are you?
Hey, Adam, how are you, man?
Good, man. I missed the front of this. Are you asking people to raise their hand if they want to talk or something?
Yeah, hit the chat feature at the bottom if you would like to ask a question or share something.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, sir. I'm glad you joined us.
Thanks for
So
having me.
just to recap the EIDL, $2 million, you can get a $10,000 advance. It doesn't take 10 minutes to fill out that application. Really low interest rates, amortized over 30 years, and no payments for the first year, but interest is being accrued on that loan during the deferment. So what can you use this loan for? Well, essentially it's for almost any financial obligation. Operating expenses, that includes mortgages, rent, utilities, insurance. You can use what collateral is being used. Now, here's the other, this is a key point to the EIDL loan, is they are requiring a lien against collateral for this loan. It's a UCC lien. And that way, they've got some assurances that if you default, they've got something they can cover from it. Is there a personal guarantee on the EIDL? Yes. For loans in excess of $200,000, owners of 20% of the business, whether it's and you're a managing member of an LLC, a managing partner, and you have, however, no liens will be taken against real estate owned by the guarantor. So, but they will need assets as collateral against this. Is the EIDL loan part of the forgiveness program? No, that is an ongoing obligation that you will have. Do I need to have filed my 2019 taxes? No. You do not have to have filed your taxes, but you may be asked to submit IRS Form 450-ST, while which gives the SBA access to historical tax returns. It's just an approval form. The loan application will take 2 to 3 weeks. Once you're approved, it'll take 5 days to fund. You can apply as of today. The process is live. The loans are available. And if you get approved, you have zero obligation to accept the loan. So it's almost a no risk situation. Get your application out there if you're interested for this money. Get yourself into the queue. But however, understand that a SBA loan allows typically 60 days to accept the loan if you get approved. So you can always just take your time making that decision, waiting potentially on your PPP loan to be approved. So I'm going to say it one last time, maybe not the last time, but one more time. Get your applications in. Go ahead and get it done. So what businesses or entities can apply? Well, any small business. There are several standards that the SBA uses to define what a small business is, but typically under all these programs, it's less than 500 employees. And in the case of this loan, it's $35 million in revenue would typically qualify, which I think hits everybody on this call. Applicants for an SBA loan program are going to have to include any affiliates. So like with Tanco, your drywall company would be included as well as part of the head count or volume qualifications. So employees of other businesses under common control will count towards the number of permitted employees. And again, there's nobody here with even close to 500 employees. So quick cash flow options. I mentioned this earlier. You've got this emergency advance. It's an online application. It's a 10-minute application. You're basically giving your name, your EIN, the size of your business, your cost of goods, a couple other quick little things, who owns the business, who are the partners in the business, and boom, it's sent. It goes through your bank. So you need to have a banking relationship. So if you're with BOA or Chase or Wells Fargo, they have these applications on their websites right now. And you've probably already received an email from them to fill out that application.
Hey, Vaughn, I have a question for you.
Go ahead.
So the wording is confusing. It says up to 10,000, right? Because I got this, I saw this on the website too, but then it says loan amount goes up to 2 million. How is it both?
Okay, so this is an emergency grant. This is to get you $10,000 quickly, waiting on you to be approved for your future loan. And then whatever you get in the way of the future loan, this $10,000 will be included in that loan.
Oh, so if I apply for 50,000, they won't give me 50,000, they give me 40,000.
Yes,
Got
because
it.
they've already given you 10.
Got it. Perfect. Okay.
Okay. AJ jumps in here and says his loan consultant, Julian Marks, has found out that banks will reimburse him. He typically charges 1%, and we hired him as to get the maximum amount of the loan. So let me share with everybody, if you got a pen and paper, Julian Marks's phone number. If you would like to reach out to him as a consultant, he'll charge you 1% of the loan in order to process this. He's an expert in SBA loans. He knows all the ins and outs of getting this. So 310-753-5851. I'll repeat that, 310-753-5851. And his email is Julian, that's spelled like Julian, Julian at gmarks.com. So it's JEMARKS.com. Julian at JEMARKS.com. Is he paying you referrals for that, AJ? Just kidding.
He's not. He should be.
So applicants will not be required to repay the advances even now. If you get denied the loan, if you get the $10,000 advance, you get denied the loan, you will not be asked to repay the advance. So if you get the 10 grand and you get denied, this loan gets forgiven, and it's just your 10 grand. Why not apply?
Vaughn, quick question. Is this a link directly through the SBA or is it through our banks?
This is the application to the SBA for the EIDL loan. And all it is the form. It's the PDF form.
Got it.
Eligibility, not more than 500 employees. This includes almost every entity type there is, sole proprietorships, anybody that's experiencing any kind of economic injury during this declared disaster. A lot of provisions are being waived during this covered period, including personal guarantees waived for loans for not more than $200,000 during the covered period, and the requirement that the applicant be in business 1 year before the disaster, as it was in business. As long as you were in business January the 31st, you have eligibility. I'm going to move on to the PPP, or the Paycheck Protection Program. Maybe I'm missing something when I look at these two loans that are available to everybody. The PPP seems to be a much more attractive offer. The only downside that I see is it has a slightly interest rate increase, and it's only a 10-year loan versus a 30-year loan. But just like the EIDL, this is a brand new loan program. It's an SBA loan. It's underwritten by the SBA. It's a 10-year loan. The first payment, here's the other downside, is due in 6 months versus 1 year from the EIDL. The maximum loan is $10 million. And here's what the qualifications will look like on this. It will cover 2.5 times the average monthly payroll cost measured over the 12 months preceding the loan origination date. So if you're a seasonal business, you may use the period February to June or March to June to calculate the average payroll. But if you're a non-seasonal business, they're going to look back over the past year. You'll be eligible for 2.5 times your average monthly payroll cost. And if you took out the EIDL loan at any time before June the 30th, you may want to refinance it. And what can this money be used for? Well, payroll, salaries, commissions, tips, benefits, employee benefits, including health insurance, retirement, taxes, employee taxes, certain types of compensations to sole proprietors or independent contractors. That's what I love about this, Trevor. You have a lot of independent contractors that you have relationships with. They're eligible for this loan program. And payroll cost. They will cover any employee up to one who is compensated to $100,000. $100,000 is the max on an employee. However, they will cover up to $100,000. They won't cover $101,000, but they'll cover $100,000. So everybody is eligible, but just up to $100,000. And for food services, this is one caveat to this. There's no restaurants in here, but we should all feel pretty good that food services, when they're looking at the head count and they're looking at the payroll, food services, restaurants, catering companies, hotels, those are calculated on a per location. So big chains like Cheesecake Factory or Chili's or Buca di Beppo or any of those, it's not the total number of employees within the organization, it's the per location. So literally, I don't know a restaurant in the world that has 500 employees. Every restaurant per location will be eligible for this. So there's lots of money to support that world out there too. What are payroll costs? So group health care, insurance, interest, but not the principal on mortgages, any debt incurred before February the 15th, your leases, your utilities. That's all what this loan is for. So it basically covers your fixed overhead and your payroll costs. I've got some chats here. Hold on one momento. Christopher. Okay, let me just make sure I get down here. This is from AJ. Julian shared with him, he's found out that banks will all 1099 contractor payments are also to be included, not just W-2s. Thank you for bringing that in, AJ, if I didn't make that clear. And that absolutely is all healthcare benefits, including your contractors, your subs. So it's fantastic. Now, Christopher's got another one here. Yes, you can include your subcontractors in the sub payroll in the payroll equation. Laura, do you have any detail on the certain compensation for sole proprietors? It is if that sole proprietor will have to provide pay stubs or income statements, but they are covered, Laura, under this PPP loan program.
Thank you.
And let's see. I think that, did I get everybody's there? Speak up if I didn't. I mean, this is really a great program. This is the best part of all of it. No collateral is required from either the business or its owners for this loan. That makes this really sweet. There is no personal guarantee and there is no collateral required. The downside is just the amortization length. Is there a loan forgiveness program? Yes. Hold on, we got one more question here. Let me get to that. What about owner's draw that does not show up as normal payroll expenses? That's where your consultant may come in really happy because I'm not sure. I have not seen owner's draw as part of that. I'm betting it does. You guys must be an S Corp. I'm pretty sure it will, but I don't know that for certain. I'm going to put it back over to AJ. AJ, you've provided me with a ton of this information to put out. Do you know if owner's draw is covered under the PPP? No, he's not responding. And Laura, oh, hold on. Now he is.
Yeah, anything that you could provide as that you're paying taxes on, that you're reporting, you can include as operating costs. And the good thing is, if you over apply, and this is something that we're very conscious of, if you over apply, the only downside is they'll turn that into a loan, which is way cheaper than the loan that we currently have, the short-term 1-year loans that we currently have. So you can't lose by documenting as much as possible and applying for it. There is also a process where they will contact you. So if you don't apply completely, they have nothing to base it on. They have no points to discuss with you. There will be a human being that will call you before you actually get the loan, and they will discuss with you. So the best thing to do is to document everything and get apply for as much as possible. They will then reduce it and discuss with you why they're reducing it and offer various terms. And they said, I attend this 3 p.m. Orange County briefing by the SBA on a daily basis, and they keep reminding people that things are changing. They're adapting as they're learning. So when people apply, they learn, and then they modify the regulation. They're trying for maximum flexibility. So please do not censor yourself.
Yeah, go for it. Go for it. And there's also another resource I'm going to share at the end of this slide presentation. That's another local nonprofit that is consulting also. And Adam, yes, I will send you over Julian's contact information as soon as this is over. So I get the loan. What might reduce the level of forgiveness? Because I want to take this loan, I want it to go away. What's going to screw me up? Well, if you reduce the base number of employees more than, I think it's, let me just read it exactly. You've got to maintain the average number of FTEs or full-time equivalent employees versus the period February 15, 2019 through June 30, 2019. Or if you've just gotten into business January 1, 2020 to February 29, 2020, which, and your borrower will select whichever time period that applies for. So as long as you're maintaining the same number of employees, this loan will be completely forgiven. There are penalties if you reduce the headcount. And again, AJ, back to AJ's point, this is a dynamic process going on right now. They're going to be learning as they move through this. I can't believe they put it together as quickly as they have. But I'm sure there's going to be adjustments to this as things move along, because today is the first day that you can apply for the PPP loan. So the amount forgiven is also reduced to the extent that compensation for any individual making less than 100 grand per year is reduced more than 25% measured against the most recent quarter. So if you're cutting people's pay per hour or their salaries by more than 25%, that will put you out of forgiveness. So if you've, and here's the game that I suspect they're trying to protect. If you laid off and quickly replaced, you laid off an older, more experienced, higher cost or higher paid individual, replace them so that your FTEs are exactly the same, they're going to say, well, hold on, let's see what you're paying this new person. Because if it's more than 25% less, you're going to be in default of the forgiveness. I think that's what they're trying to protect.
I have a question.
Please.
Say you don't have the work to support a full-time employee, but you don't take them off payroll. Do they confirm that?
Yes.
In other words, if there's nothing for them to do, but you're still paying them.
And they want you to continue. That's what the main
Okay.
point of this loan is, Willetta,
Okay.
is for you to continue paying people even when you don't have the business coming in.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure. And the forgiven amounts will not constitute cancellation of indebtedness for federal tax purposes. So next, do I need to have filed my 2019 taxes? That's going to depend on your lender. So every lender, BOA will be different from Chase, will be different from Wells Fargo, will be different from F&M. How long will the application process take? We don't know yet. Today's the first day. I'm hoping as soon as we get off this call today that you guys will jump on these applications and get them in the wind. And then that's going to determine how many they are able to process in what amount of time. I know the government, the administration has been all over banks to be able to get the SBA part of this facilitated quickly. And can you apply now? Yes. The loan guidelines are unique to each bank. Apply through your bank. You have to, the one thing I keep seeing is you have to have a relationship, a business relationship with a bank. What businesses can apply and what are the affiliation rules? So any business must have been in operation before February 15 and have 500 or fewer employees. There are some minor exceptions, and we'll hit on those based on industry. Individuals who operate a sole proprietorship or an independent contractor are eligible. Self-employed individuals are eligible. Any business concerning the employees not more than 500 employees per location that is assigned an NAICS code beginning with 72, which is food services. They have a special accommodation on that. That's nobody on this call. And these affiliation rules are also waived for franchises with codes assigned by the FBA as reflected by the SBA franchise registry, and businesses that receive financial assistance from one or more small business investment companies, SBICs. I don't think that's anybody on this call either. So once again, where can you find the information? It's any SBA qualified lender that you've got a business relationship with. If you don't have one, I think that if you get on anybody's website, and I'm sure everybody does, you're best to go through your bank. But in the documents they emailed out to everybody is the links to the SBA site. And then it also gives you, there's also a link to a lender match. So you can pick out whatever lender you want to apply to. When it talks about payroll costs, that's wages, tips, paid time off, separation pay not exceeding 100 grand, health insurance, retirement benefits, state and local taxes are assessed on employee compensation, payments to sole proprietors or independent contractors or self-employed not exceeding $100,000. A lot. Let's see what we got here. Trevor, what if I didn't include 1099s in the app that I just did this morning? Can I go backwards? I don't know, Trevor.
I didn't know you could include that. So hopefully when they call and ask for stuff,
you can alter the application. They're going to call and talk to you, I'm sure. And you can alter that.
I would love to keep the contractors busy because they are hurting. I mean, they are hurting, right? Because everybody stopped using them. So I would love to give them work to do. So that's good to know.
Okay. Christopher, back to you. Do we need to open a separate bank account to keep or track of the money? No. They'll deposit that money into whatever business account you tell them to deposit that money into. In fact, part of the application asks what bank you want the monies transferred to. Good question. So here's some other benefits through the CARES Act. So it fixes an issue on qualified improvement property, which anybody in the architectural or construction business might be interested in, as well as restaurant retail, to fully expense tenant improvements. So previously referred to as leasehold improvements have a 15-year depreciation, and due to a drafting error in the 2016 tax bill, it reverted to 39 years. This new bill fixes that and will allow for 100% expensing on tenant improvements until 2022 and retro back to 2018. Another benefit is payroll tax payments will be delayed for employers for the rest of the year. So you will not have to pay payroll taxes. You will not have to outlay the cash for your payroll taxes, but next year you will have to pay it. And prior to this bill, net operating losses, or NOLs, are subject to taxable income limitations and could not be carried back to reduce income in a prior year. The provision only temporarily removes this taxable income limitation to allow non-operating losses to fully offset income. So they're putting in a short-term ability to offset non-operating losses for this period of time to apply towards your taxes. So here's some other benefits. You get a $5,000 refundable tax credit for retaining employees. And that's not limited to small business. That's every business. So you certainly want to take advantage of that. If the business is fully or partially suspended due to orders from the government, which is damn near all of us, limiting commerce, travel, group meetings due to the COVID-19, or gross receipts for that quarter are less than 50% of gross receipts in the same quarter in the prior year, you get a refundable credit on that. You get an increase in the amount of interest expense from 30% to 50%. You can now, for this fiscal year, 2020, your taxes, you'll be able to write off 50% of your interest expense versus 30% in prior years. The provision also allows certain businesses to increase liquidity with a reduced cost of capital, which is through these loans. And it puts aside $454 billion in emergency lending to businesses, states and cities throughout the U.S. Treasury's Exchange Stabilization Fund. So here's some of the rub to all this. If you take the PPP, you got to keep at least 90% of your employees. The money cannot be used for stock buybacks for the duration of the loan. Business can apply for loans if they have not otherwise received adequate economic relief in the form of other loans or loan guarantees from other sources in the CARES Act. You get to get that net operating loss carryback for 5 years, 2018, 2019, 2020. And you can delay the payment of your 2020 payroll taxes until 2021 and 2022. But you're still going to pay those taxes.
Question about that, Vaughn.
Always.
Question, Vaughn.
What's that?
Sorry, just before we go on, if you could go back a slide. So the payroll tax, I have a team of 4. I know some of you have more than that. My payroll just takes the payroll tax out bi-monthly. So what does that mean by paying payroll tax later?
So going forward, whoever your payroll processor is, you'll have to speak to them.
Okay.
They will not have to pay those taxes for you, but you'll have to cut it off. But they'll have to continue to record them so that you can report them next year and then pay them.
Got it. So we save, I think the average is 11% payroll tax per check period, right? So that's basically what you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Cool.
Yeah,
Okay.
It's not nothing,
It's definitely, definitely. Okay.
Small businesses and tenants. As I've said previously, $357 billion in loans, up to $10 million per business. Your payroll, your rent, other related expenses for the next 2 months can be converted into a grant, and that's the $10,000 emergency grant. There's the small business debt forgiveness, which is the PPP loan. There's $17 billion allocated, and that'll go away fast, for SBA existing loan forgiveness and immediate debt obligations for up to 6 months of payment. So if you've got an existing SBA loan, There's 17 billion that's allocated for forgiving those loans and or 6 months of payments. They've allocated $10 billion for SBA emergency grants. That's the $10,000 I've spoken numerous times about. Go get that money, folks. And the emergency grants provide a limited cash advance to cover things like paid sick and maintaining payroll, et cetera, et cetera. And the last sentence on all this is, if conditions are met, there's no obligation to repay that. Let's see, AJ, do we have the specific language of payroll taxes, state income, Medicare, Social Security? It is not FICA, but it is federal and state taxes, AJ. Now, in fact, let me just read it to you real quick. I've got the document right here.
So it's income taxes only.
I'll read it. Hang on. I know I've got it here somewhere. I'll send it over to you, but I think it's everything Social Security.
So the only exception is we still pay our Social Security and Medicare taxes, but all the other taxes, disability, income tax, all those can be, the employer portion can be
Delayed.
can be deferred, but
Yeah.
the employee still, their paycheck is still going to lose that money, and then that's going to be submitted to the IRS.
Yeah, it's just the employer's portion that is
Right.
being deferred.
Right.
Good question. All right. Here is a resource that, again, this link is in the documents I sent over to you. But there's, I came across these guys, and AJ, you may have sent me this one. It's the Small Business Development Center. They're based in Fullerton. And there's the link to their website where they will conduct an initial assessment with you over the phone to see the effects of COVID-19 on your business. They're going to review your funding options with you. They've got a group of consultants who are going to determine the best options for you. They'll then discuss your employee options. They'll take you through a step-by-step through the different programs and resources that are available, including things like work sharing and unemployment insurance, tax extensions. They'll make sure you're clear on all those different issues that are available to you. So I encourage you to take advantage of that. I bet they're a little backed up, but I'd certainly jump on that opportunity to talk to them, and it's free. So we can apply, start for everything. Everything's available in the loan portion of it as of today. The independent contractors and self-employed can apply and receive loans starting April the 10th. And other lenders outside of the current SBA lenders may be or will be available to make these loans as soon as anybody that's applied that's an outside of the, and I would imagine that's probably credit unions and loan sharks and that sort of thing. If they get approved by the SBA to make these loans in the next coming months, they'll be available through them as well. These are the links I included in the documents that I sent over to you. So the first one is the application. I also sent the form, the actual PDF form. The second one is a $10,000 disaster grant. This is the actual online application form. And again, The advance does not need to be repaid under any circumstances. That's the SBA's words, not mine. So that's awesome. And then I also sent a little fact sheet to you guys too in the form of this link. So I'm gonna bring this a little bit. Hold on, I got a couple more questions here. Fantastic, I love this. Let's see, misspelled. Oh, Katrina Payne-Smith. They take. Oh, okay. Here's another person. This is from AJ, right? Yeah. I will copy this and send this out to everybody. Katrina Payne-Smith. AJ, what does Katrina do?
So she's the coordinator that from the SBDC office here in Cal State Fullerton that is doing the 3 p.m. and providing all this information. Our landlord called them. They take calls all the time. She'll take calls. She also has an online appointment system where you can, so you're not going to be queued in for 2 days just to get an appointment. You'll get it right away, something back from her. She's very efficient. And this is getting directly from the horse's mouth. No consultant, no intermediary. This is directly going to SBDC.
Fantastic. I will. Can you guys see this chat message up on the screen?
They can't. I sent it privately to you because, and I also text you so you can add it to you.
Okay, cool. I will send it out as a separate email as soon as we're off this phone today. Thanks for sharing that, AJ. So let me wrap this up with a couple quick quotes. The first one's from one of my favorite people that ever walked this planet, Stephen Covey. If there's one thing that's certain in business is uncertainty. That's for sure. And the second is from one of the greatest car guys ever, Lee Iacocca. And he said this back during one of the recessions. I think it was back during the 70s. So what do? Anything, something. So as long as we just don't sit there, if we screw it up and we start over, try something else. If we wait until we've satisfied all their uncertainties, maybe too late. He actually said that when he was running Chrysler during the 80s. And for Lee Iacocca, the world can all be thankful that the K car came from that. The Dodge Aries. Danny, I believe Lance had one of those in high school. So that was his favorite car, I understand.
I'm glad you're wrong about that, Vaughn.
That had to have been, honestly, one of the worst cars ever made, but they sold 1 billion of them.
I was going to say, I had a pretty decent bike, and I think that would have been more reliable transportation than a K car.
Yeah. Sam and Dave, my left foot, my right foot. All right. So thank you all very, very much. If there's any other questions, please use the chat feature and I'll go through them. If not, I owe you guys some follow-up materials. Adam, I'll get that Julian's information over to you. I'll also get this consultant from AJ over to you guys. But just like Lee says, do something, get on it, take advantage of this. Even you get turned down, let's take some swings and try to hit some balls here. Any other questions before we depart?
No, thank you for this.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure.
Yes,
All
thank
time,
you.
Vaughn.
And then
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you, Vaughn.
And if you guys have any questions outside of this, reach out to me. If you come across any hiccups, anything you think I might be able to help you with, reach out to me. You know, if the student loans are deferred, there's so many great programs that have hit the market right now that are just going to be awesome for everybody. So everybody have a great weekend. Stay well. Christopher, you get better. Hope you feel better soon. Talk to everybody.
Thank you, Vaughn.
Bye, guys.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Happy hour, Vaughn.